Thank you very much, Committee. It's an honor to be here today, and hopefully I'll be able to answer some of your questions, and maybe down the way you may be able to answer some of mine. I'd like to get started. Alamance County was the second 287G program in the state of North Carolina. The first was Mecklenburg County. Currently, we have 6 287G programs in the state. Wake County, Cabarrus County, Buncombe County, Mecklenburg County, Henderson County, and Alamance County. And I'll soon be in law enforcement 40 years. And I would like to say that this is probably, to me, one of the most important tools that we were allowed to get and participate in order to protect our citizens in the state of North Carolina and Alamance County. Now, a lot of people have said a lot of things about the 287G program. We are a detention model program, which means the criminals self-identify themselves by committing a violation of law in the state of North Carolina in order to come through the jail doors. Once they come through and they're foreign born, of course, they are processed to see if they are in the country legally or illegally and who they really are. And that's what really concerns our sheriffs. We need to know who is in our jails. And I would say that probably somewhere around 80% that are brought into our jails that are here illegally give a different name, and we don't find out until they're put on our fingerprint ident system and find out who they really are and the number of encounters that they've had with customs or law enforcement. So what I'd like to do is give you a little history. The Legal Immigration Reform and Immigrant Responsibility Act of 1996 added a section called 287G, Performance of Immigration Officer Functions by State Officers and Employees, to the Immigration and Nationality Act. What happened, I think they found they were having not enough manpower to deal with some of the issues that was happening in our country, so they went back and revisited it. This authorizes a Deputy Director of ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement, to enter into an agreement with state and local officers or agencies permitting designated officers that are trained through Immigration and Customs to function under the supervision of ICE officers. For example, in Alamance County, we have 2 federal ICE officers assigned to our detention center 40 hours a week. They double check anything that the Alamance County Sheriff's Office does as far as detention and removal. Second thing I want you to understand, we do not remove anybody. We just process these individuals. All right, the 287G program is one of ICE partnership initiatives that allow state and local law enforcement to join with ICE. There's a memorandum of understanding that we have to enter. That basically dictates to us as a local law enforcement agency what we can do, what we can't do, and what the rules and regulations are governing us. Those 2 ICE agents assigned to our 287G site double checks every bit of the work we do to make sure everything is above board and we're following their procedures. And that is very important. Get called up here. Okay. 287G program, like I said, is one of the greatest partnerships I think we've developed with ICE, and we do have that. There are 2 types of 287G partnerships. One is your jail enforcement model. That's where the only way you will process anybody if they self-identify themselves by committing a state violation or a federal violation and come into our detention center. The second type is a task force officer program, which means your officer is trained and they will work with ICE agents on federal violations out in the communities. Participating agents. Currently, ICE has 69 law enforcement agencies in 24 states participating in this particular program. Since January 2006, the 287G program has credited with identifying more than 217,300 potentially removable criminal aliens. Now, I'm going to tell you, from the standpoint of a sheriff, we deal with criminal, illegal aliens, not just from Mexico, Guatemala. Good example today. We had one in the jail we caught with quite a quantity of methylene dioxymethamphetamine last night in our county. He was from Denmark. He is being processed probably as we talk. So everybody gets all upset, say, well, you know, it's looking at the Hispanic. It's not. We have identified Italians. We have just Germans from Denmark, not other nations, not just our Spanish-speaking countries. Okay, ICE has trained and certified more than 1,500 state and local officers nationwide. Currently, ICE has 6 287G sites in North Carolina, and all 100 counties we've got 6 287G sites, and the remaining 100 counties has the Secure Communities program, in which Sheriff Page will be talking about shortly. All right, the 287 jail enforcement model works. How does it work? It only applies to criminals who also happen to be illegal aliens or immigrants in the United States. Persons are identified by the program, self-select themselves. If you don't want to be processed through the 287G program in our jail, do not violate the law of our state and nation. Illegal aliens in North Carolina who are arrested will not be identified through the 287 jail enforcement model program in North Carolina. In other words, we're not going to go out and just pick up anybody and bring in. You have to commit a violation of the law in the state of North Carolina and Alamance County to be processed. Okay, processing procedure. A subject is arrested by a local officer on state and local charges and is transported to detention facility for processing and appearance before a judicial official. Now here's another misconception of the program. If that individual does post bond before he comes into the jail to be processed, guess what? They don't get put through the identification process. And if they are recognized, their bond is recognized, they never come in through the detention center to be processed, they are released. We have lost, I am very much concerned about this procedure, because we have lost some probably violent criminals that have violent records simply because they did not come into the detention center. And I'm sure we have. While in the pre-booking, a arresting officer fills out a property sheet. There are 2 questions on the property sheet. Where were you born, and what country are you a citizen of? If a subject indicates that he or she is foreign born or a citizen of another country, a 287G officer is notified. At that point, once they come into the booking area, we have to take property sheets. That's where we know at that point they answer those questions if our 287G officers should begin processing them.